What's up? So it is just past 8:30 on Monday. Already went through the first part of the morning routine. Lately, we've been waking up at 6 a.m., get ready for the day, and then from 6 to sunrise or around 8 or just before, I sit down to work. So that's like knocking out any emails, getting prepped for the day, for the week, and just making sure, that I have everything I need ready. Sometimes it's like if I have a morning call, I'll do the prep at that time. Other times it's just trying to knock out as many tasks as I can to kind of get that flow going for the day. So did that. Whenever the sun starts to rise, we go out for a morning walk, usually like 30 minutes. Our dog appreciates that, but it's also really good to get that morning sunlight. And now we're back in. So gonna make breakfast now, and then probably around 9 a.m. get back into work for a bit before the gym. I've got a pretty good list of to-dos for the day. Some life things like errands that I need to run just to start the week. I need to begin a couple of bigger projects that'll take some time, but I have one call today, and it's a kickoff call with Tim, working on some access things. So we're starting a project based around his social metrics, organic social, and doing a couple of audits, but also building out some continuous reporting so that he can better understand his content, what performs best, historically what's gone well, and areas of opportunity to improve. So I have that call. And then a big focus for the week is 28's campaign. So they have a drop on March 30th, and that means that ads go live a week from today. So I need to start sorting out budgeting, creative, anything like that. Make sure things are built by like Sunday and ready to go. So need to do some work there, and that'll just kind of be ongoing throughout the week. So that's what today's looking like, and we'll see what else we get up to.
With cool people in a cool world. Welcome to chill out, man. Take a drag and look at the sun. It's red, dude, and you don't give a fuck. And just going high, so high.
Sweet, and then I think I just got the email, so I'll accept that, and then I sent the same sort of. Alright, so it's just past 12:30 now. I just got off my call with Tim. We got access sorted out, which means that really now is when my job starts. It's really exciting though, getting to dig into so much data. He hasn't done an audit or continuous reporting like this, so that means we don't really know what insights we're going to find. And the goal is that those insights can inform his ongoing content strategy and help him, continue to build his audience and, improve upon what he's doing. So that's very exciting. It'll take a while to build out this initial audit and get through all of the data and analyze and provide all the information. But it should be a very, very valuable, piece of reporting for him. And then outside of that, for this afternoon, I am about to babysit my niece for a bit, just a couple of hours. So that'll be fun. We're gonna go hang out. And then after that, I need to work on some YouTube editing, invoicing. I might try to get some short form going today. We'll see. I'm really bad about actually doing short form. And then, as I mentioned, I have some bigger projects that I need to kind of dig into. They're not something that I can complete today, but I need to start making progress on them. We'll see how the day goes and see what we can accomplish. What's up? It is Tuesday and it is time for a bit of a check-in. So as I mentioned yesterday, I had a call with Tim to kick off our data project for his socials. So basically what we're doing is auditing his performance, his content for however long we can see. That kind of varies by platform. So like for YouTube, we can go all the way back with all of the data we want. Other platforms, it's a bit more limited, and you can, get to a certain point and the data is, maybe a few metrics. So we want to pull all of that data, analyze, get all of the information we can, and start to find some insights within that data. Strategic insights to inform, how he should create content going forward, how he can improve, things he maybe used to do that were working well that you could incorporate that, maybe got dropped off at some point. So anything that I can find to inform his creative strategy, his content strategy. So what that process looks like on my end is first have to get access. So that's access to accounts and connecting those accounts whenever we can to Supermetrics. So Supermetrics is what I use for automated data pulling. It is my favorite platform for analysis just because I can pull spreadsheets worth of data and then from there segment them out however I want. And I can manipulate that data a lot. So it does have its limitations just because this is organic social we're talking about, and it's not like a business account. It's not paid media. So we're a bit limited. So there will be a good amount of manual analysis and data entry, which is totally fine because it is an extensive analysis and audit. So no matter what, there's going to be some manual elements. After access, I get all of the data systems set up. So that's really just going through and determining like, okay, YouTube, we're good to go. We have all the data we need. Here are next steps. Here's what we want to analyze. Here are the, sections of the audit that I'm going to hit on and just start to take a look. I've consumed Tim's content for years, so I'm familiar with it, but now I have to look at it from a different perspective and try to understand from a strategic standpoint, what is performing differently, what could be impacting performance, what are the areas for improvement, areas of opportunity, and things like that, any trends. All of that being said, that's what I've been doing today, is looking to understand, where we at, what can we do, what can we see, and where do I go from here. So next steps, as I've determined today, will be starting some manual data entry, which will be, again, a bit of a lengthy process. This is not an audit that can be performed within a couple days. It's going to take about a month to do. But it is a very, very valuable piece of information for him and, for his journey with content creation. So it is completely worth it. So I'll start to, into that data for the platforms that I already have data for. I will start to perform the analysis, finding the trends. If I notice any obvious spikes or differences in the data, then I'll go and look at the specific content. Separately, we're doing a creative audit. So that means, watching all of the creative, talking about, what did the first 3 seconds look like? What does the audience sentiment look like and things like that. So that is separate and it is a shorter time frame. But that's where I will go from here. I'll break it out into chunks to work through over the next few weeks and probably provide some insights to Tim and his team as I go through, just so they don't have to wait until mid to late April to get that value. So that's where we're at there. Other things, again, this is a big week planning for 28. So I worked on some budgeting and projections today for the campaigns to see what we need to do. And then we've been working to hire a couple of contractors for our other businesses. One is a tech pack designer working on a shirt for us. And then another is the sourcing agent that I mentioned before. So going to try to get on a call with someone to see if we could be a good fit. But it is 7:30 right now. I'm about to have a dinner and probably work for about another hour and a half. It's been very, very work heavy lately, but that's all right because it means things are going well and it's just kind of part of the journey. So I enjoy it. Other than that, I will check in tomorrow and see what we get into. I wanted to go ahead and put together a V1 kind of rough version of the ongoing reporting. So we have the dashboard here, so this is where you can go and just see kind of bird's eye view for the past 28 days. But feel free to leave any comments, any questions, and if there's anything that you would like to see before your call tomorrow, just let me know. We'll be around. So we've been doing a lot of work on our office space, and I've shared some updates before, so it's only appropriate to keep you updated on what we've changed in our office space. First, we switched from 2 desks to 1 long table. We moved 1 desk over to hold the printer, rearranged the space, started hanging stuff up. But this past week is probably the change that I'm most excited about because I have a lot of tech equipment, from cameras and microphones, SD cards, stuff like that, to just storage for things. I have been needing for a long time a place to store all of it. It's been in my old videos, you might be able to see, but it's been just like hanging out behind my chair forever, just kind of in a pile or on like a little stand. So what we did was we got a cabinet for all of it. So this is it. It is just a simple like metal locker cabinet. Nothing crazy. I think we found it on some website called like Real Rooms. So it wasn't too expensive, but I just wanted to see how it would work. So I've already got my headphone stand from IKEA on top with a cactus. We've got lamp, book, map of the London Underground. But it just looks nice, first of all, underneath the jersey. Adds a little bit of style to the space, but I'm particularly excited about the inside. So this is the inside of the locker, and these different storage bins here and that I got from IKEA too. I've got smaller things, but I also have my Fujifilm camera. I've got some SD cards, stuff for the Osmo, cards, things like that. Any small stuff that I needed to store. I have my lens case, and I think the glasses are in there too. Shout out Daniel Dalen for that. Down here I've got other video equipment, tripod, light. It's really just useful for storing everything. That's been my problem in the past, is that I just have a lot of different types of things, cords, I don't know, a ton of stuff. Anyone who, does photography, videography, is generally into tech will understand that. So it's a great addition. I love having it behind me, but that's been the most recent update. We have some other things to do, but wanted to share the cabinet. So we're about to have a new tech pack made for Warren. We just hired a designer to work on it. Different than our previous tech pack designer we were working with on a different project. So this one specifically works in apparel, and normally with clothing designs like this, I typically just try to do them myself, but it's one of those things where it is more beneficial for me to pay someone to do it for whatever their rate is, instead of trying to figure it out on my own. I'm not a professional tech pack designer, so it just doesn't make much sense. So what I'm going to do now is take my tape measure and measure some shirts that I already have. I want this new shirt to be a little bit cropped, but not too much. I'm pretty short, so I want it to look good on other people, taller people. But I have some shirts that are cropped, and they're a bit boxy. The thing that'll be tricky here is the sleeve, because this is a cut off raw hem sleeve. So I'm gonna have to kind of figure out what might be best there, and probably do a couple iterations to find the best fit. So today is Friday. It is almost 4 p.m. now, and I wanted to check in at the end of the week and let you know what's been happening. I haven't recorded a lot, like sitting down and talking for a couple of days because it's just been busy with like family stuff, seeing them. We had my girlfriend's sister staying with us for a few days, so just been a bit of a different week, but we have had some good progress on the business front. So first, for our newest business that should launch within hopefully the next couple of months, we haven't shared any like details about it, but I will at some point kind of start sharing that journey too. But we hired a sourcing agent to help us out with finding manufacturers for our first product and a packaging manufacturer and things like that. It can be a bit difficult sourcing products on your own, especially for a product as custom as what we're making. So we brought her in to help us find those manufacturers that are going to work with us, people who are going to produce quality items, up to our standards, especially again, launching something new. We want to make a really good first impression. So that's been great. She's been very, very helpful, very, very knowledgeable. And then I also set up some reporting this week for Tim and his socials and sent that out for kind of a first round review, but also, included some data for him to take a look at. So I got that done. It's a pretty lengthy process that we're in for the project that we're working on. So it's kind of just stage one is, getting out a V1 report. And then I've also been starting the auditing process. So a lot of things that I'm kind of in the middle of. I have another client that's finishing up sprint one for a longer, like 10-month campaign. So sprint one started at the beginning of the month. It's finishing up now. We're prepping for sprint two. And then as I've mentioned, 28 has a drop coming up at the end of the month on March 30th. So we've been prepping to start the marketing for that this coming week. So a lot of things just like moving and in process. Starting this weekend is going to be a lot of execution for those things. So today I'm kind of getting my head straight and thinking about what needs to be done and, how I can be prepared to finish things that I've started. But I also wanted to share that this week and honestly the past couple or few weeks have been really challenging mentally. It's, mid-March and I live in Kentucky and the weather here has been insane. We've had a couple of false springs and then the cold weather comes back. It gets very cold here. A lot of people don't know that, but it gets very cold and it's just been really challenging mentally to like have, the warm days where I get really excited and ready for the summer. And then the cold comes back in, you don't want to go outside. And it's just been a challenge mentally. But it's also been a very big like transitional period with business and life because things are picking up and getting busier and growing, which is fantastic. But on the other side of that, I have to understand and figure out how to navigate the rest of, my life with my relationships and my routines and things like that. And it has just taken a bit of a toll mentally. And really that's like understanding what's taking my energy and my capacity and, assessing what shouldn't be taking my energy and fixing that and reallocating it to where it should be going. So that's kind of another focus for the weekend is just kind of getting my head on straight with it and getting into a better place mentally so that I can focus. But the reality is that everyone has like off periods or slumps or just, days or weeks where you're kind of like, I'm not fully me. And that's why I wanted to share it is because even though I haven't felt fully me, I'm still getting shit done. Maybe not to the best of my ability, but I have to keep, kind of the trains moving. So as much as I can do, but it just kind of means that the ideation part of my brain and the, some of the drive and ambition hasn't been up to par with what I expect of myself. So wanted to share that, but I'm honestly looking forward to the weekend to step back, kind of, assess things, see what I can fix and do better and help myself out so that next week I can really hit the ground running.